Good morning, everybody. So good to see you this morning via this video. I'm Pastor Randy, one of your pastors, of course, here at Christ Community Church, and we just want to welcome you back as we consider this process of regathering as a congregation. I know it's been 10, 11 weeks, something like that, since we've all gathered together for worship on a Sunday morning. Though we've been faithful to live stream together and worship connected, joining together that way. This coming Sunday morning, Sunday, June 7th, gives us an opportunity that we haven't had in 10 or 11 weeks. And we're all a little bit out of practice. And so I thought I would put together this short little video just to kind of help us walk through what to expect on Sunday morning during these COVID days together. And as we consider this important process of actually rejoining together and regathering. So, of course, we're all going to, who are ready to come back to church on Sunday, we're all going to arrive in our vehicles or our bicycles, whatever the mode of transportation might be. I've come this morning in my vehicle, and I remember my Bible. That's an important thing when you head off to church. I mean, I know some of us have our smartphones, and we do Bible online in that way. And but I just want to encourage you to bring your Bible and follow along. The Word of God is central to who we are as a people here at Christ Community, and it'd be very helpful for you to bring along your own copy of God's Word. Now, as you know, if you've read any email communication earlier from the church offices, and particularly from me, on Sunday, June 7th, for our very first time at 9:30 for our morning worship service, we hope, weather permitting, to gather outside. And so, knowing that we hopefully will be outside on Sunday, what I've done is I remembered to bring my lawn chair. And you can bring a blanket, you can bring whatever makes you most comfortable. But on Sunday, if weather allows, we're going to be outside just west of the church building, and we will be joining together for worship there. Now, as you arrive and park, I just want to encourage you to try and park either in the lot that I parked in, or away from the building in the other lot, on the south parking lot, because we may have some family units, some individuals, some larger families that are ready to come to outdoor worship, but they seek to remain in their own automobiles and kind of listen in as best they can from the parking lot. So if you could keep the front area of that parking lot open for those worshipers, well, then you'll do a great service for your brothers and sisters and your neighbors as we join together and worship. Now, you may also notice I've got a trunk full of golf clubs, and so the golfers among us, if you want to do a double afternoon round of golf, bring your clubs, but don't get them out for worship, all right? We won't be bothering with golf in that way. And so as we arrive, we're going to remember our Bibles and our lawn chair. Now, let's say the weather is not good, or the weather is got 26 mile an hour winds, which I think is part of the forecast for Sunday morning. If we elect on Saturday to move our worship service indoors, that will be our backup plan for Sunday. So if you remember our Memorial Day Sunday, where we were hoping to meet outside and the weather didn't cooperate very well for that worship service, we just had to go back on to live stream only. This Sunday, if that were to happen, weather-related cancellation outside, we will gather in the worship area of Christ Community. And so why don't you come along and join with me as we go as if we're going to have an indoor service at Christ Community, which of course we will be doing on subsequent Sundays after the 7th of June anyway. So welcome, glad you're back. It's been too long, hasn't it? And so let's go see what life is like now as we return and as we regather at Christ Community for worship on Sunday morning. Come along with me. Well, upon arrival on Sunday morning, we noticed something immediately that's a little bit different. No Raquel or anyone else that's going to greet us at the main door. And also we find that the front doors of Christ Community are standing wide open. And the other thing that I notice is that on both doors there's a sign that's going to be very important for each of us to notice and to read. And if you look closely with me, I discovered that it's got a series of questions that it's asking me to consider, both for myself and for any young family members that might be a part of my family. And the questions simply are having to do with, in the last 14 days, have I been in contact with anyone who has been diagnosed with COVID-19? Question 2, are there recent changes in how you feel and a number of physical conditions, things like headaches and sore throat and fever and chills, and you can read the various elements that we're concerned about there as it relates to possible COVID conditions. Question 3 is your temperature above 100.3 or 100.4 degrees? And by the way, that reminds me that we want to encourage each of you to take your temperature before you leave home on Sunday morning. This will help us immensely with traffic flow as we all make our way into worship, and it will keep us from having to have our temperature taken here. Now, if you forget, that's okay, or if you don't have a thermometer, that's understandable, and we're prepared to help you with that situation. But you can help all of us immensely, again, by taking your temperature and your loved one's temperature at home before you arrive. And question number 4 is, are you waiting for COVID-19 test results? And then this important statement, if you answer yes to any of these questions, we ask that you not enter our building today. Now, this is a sensitive matter, and we don't want to draw great attention to anyone who has to answer or who needs to answer yes to any of these questions. But again, for the sake of safety and reducing as best we can the risk of catching and spreading the COVID virus, we just encourage you to take seriously these questions and to answer truthfully, so that we can show love for one another even in this way. And again, if you have to answer yes to any of these questions, we perfectly understand that. That's a real live possibility in our county currently. And if you have to answer yes, then we just encourage you to return home and take advantage of our live streaming on our website, and to be a part of worship again in your home. And so you will see this. The doors will be wide open so that I don't have to touch the door, or any of your loved ones has to open the door and touch any part of the door. And so that you'll find the doors open with these questions presented to us on Sunday morning. Well, if you'll come in with me, and we'll see as we make our way in for worship some of the other elements that we need to deal with and we'll encounter. So come along with me. Wow, it seems so good to be back. I mean, at 10, 11 weeks, and when I enter the building of Christ Community, it looks in many ways just like it was when we left all those many weeks ago. And it's just so good to be back in the building. And I've been able to get through the main door. I've answered all the questions with a no, and it's just so good to be back. Well, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Christ Community Church. We are so glad that you're here this morning.
Well, it's good to be here.
Good. Were you able to read the questions that were on the front entry?
I was.
Yeah? And
yes.
Were you able to take your temperature before you came this morning?
Well, I took it last week, and I was good, and so but I didn't take it this morning.
Well, would you be willing to let me take your temperature this morning?
Oh, sure, by all means.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you're good. You don't have a fever this morning, so
well, good.
We're so glad that you're here again. And would you help yourself to some hand sanitizer?
Sure.
We have plenty of it around the building, and we would be glad that you would use that before you enter today.
That'd be great. Yeah, we've been using a lot of this in our home. Wow, it's been going through it and hard to find it. Where'd y'all find all this hand sanitizer?
Well, we just happen to have some on stock, so that's...
Well, great. That's good. That's good.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. Well, I've made it through my temperature check and my first stop for hand sanitizer, and now I come immediately to this table where I find on Sunday morning there will be available to each of us some disposable masks. Now again, we're not making mask wearing mandatory, but if you wish to wear a mask, we want to encourage you to do that. You can either bring your own with you from home, or I actually have forgotten mine this morning, but thankfully I see that the church provides for us some disposable masks, and so I do wish to wear my mask, and so I'm gonna put my mask on and be ready for worship in this way. And it's not that everyone is going to be wearing one, but I feel a bit safer wearing a mask, and so I'm going to use one that the church is providing for me. I also see that there are some gloves that will be available. I know some of the men that will be assisting us in the worship area will be wearing them themselves, but again, that's something you may or may not want to use. And then we find more hand sanitizer, and again, throughout the church, you're going to find a number of places where hand sanitizer is available, and we just want to encourage you to use that liberally, just again to increase safety and reduce risk. So again, a station here for us just to mask up if we so choose, gloves as well, and more hand sanitizer. Come on with me, we're ready to go to worship. Well, on our way to worship this morning, you notice a major important area for so many of us is our water fountain, our ice cold water fountain. And I noticed as I come to worship this morning that there's yellow caution tape over my favorite water fountain, which reminds me that I can't use it this morning while we're in this COVID condition. And so that's a bit disappointing, but what I've been told is that as we come to worship at Christ Community, just because our water fountain is closed to public use, it doesn't mean that I can't bring with me my own water bottle, water or other beverage from home, or maybe coffee that many of us like to drink while we worship. And so again, I just want to remind us that those things are still possible. You can bring your own water or coffee from home and bring it with you, but there will be no beverages or food served yet while we're at Christ Community. So remember, on Sunday morning, you might want to be bringing your own coffee or water with you. The water fountain will be closed to public use. And I think with that, having said that, I think it's actually time for us to gather for worship at 9:30. So come with me. Well, as we enter the worship area of Christ Community, I immediately noticed it's set up just a little bit differently. Some of the chairs have been removed, and what is set up currently is a worship area with social distancing concerns in mind. And so you will see, as you look closer at the seating that is set up for us, that there are clusters of chairs in our worship area of 2s and 3s and 4s, and in some cases up to 7 for some of our larger family units. And we have set this up, our Board of Deacons have set this up for us for the foreseeable future during COVID, not with each of us and our family units specifically in mind, but just in terms of general total numbers. And so what that means, quite simply, is that as you and your family come to worship on Sunday morning, you may find that the seats that are open, or the area that you want to sit in, let's say has 4 chairs, and you come from a family of 6. I just want to remind us that there's going to be a couple of gentlemen available. They will be gloved and masked as they serve us in this way. And they will be happy to assist us with moving chairs or adding chairs. But again, we're all attempting to work and to maintain social distancing in our worship while we're in this worship area. And so again, don't be offended if you need more chairs for your family to be accommodated in worship. We will be more than happy to help you with that. But again, we've kind of spread the thing out so that we have a social distancing while we worship together on Sunday morning. The other thing I want to notice and point out to you is that in the back of our worship area are offering boxes. Now, these are the temporary ones that we've put together for the first week or two as we are regathering. We hope to have something a bit more permanent. But with the concerns of passing money or any other paper products, we have decided that for our offering receiving, that we're going to have offering in the back of our worship area, where when we depart, or maybe even when we arrive, if you want to give as you come in, these offering boxes will be available for you to put your offering into. Now, you may have, in these last 10 or 11 weeks, have long since converted over to online giving. Of course, we would encourage you just to continue with that practice. And so again, we will, going forward, always have at least 2 opportunities to give to the ministry of the Lord here at Christ Community, either online through our Church Center app, or in a more traditional format. But with COVID in place, we will not be passing offering plates as part of our worship. We will have these offering boxes at the back of the worship area. So I think this is pretty much how you're going to see it on Sunday morning. Our worship team, of course, will be practicing social distancing as well. And we just want to encourage you to be as safe as possible as we regather for worship on Sunday morning. Now, I know our service starts at 9:30, but you know, it's been a number of weeks since we've seen some of each other, and we're going to come on Sunday morning, especially the first 2-3 weeks or beyond, and we're going to be seeing some people we haven't seen in months. And so let me encourage you to come a little bit early, and we'll start a new Christ Community tradition. In fact, we'll come and we will enjoy some fellowship, some sweet fellowship together. And if you come earlier, you'll have opportunity to do that. Now, that does bring up an important matter. At the conclusion of our worship service on Sunday morning, we're going to be seeing some people across the room, or maybe right close by us, that we want to talk to. We haven't seen that person, their family, in so long. It's so good to see them again. And so I'm going to be encouraging us on Sunday morning at the conclusion of our service, that when we conclude, that we make our way out through the main doors of the church, out into the carport area or even the parking lots, and that we have our extended conversation and fellowship there. Why? Because, again, the amount of time and the duration of time that we spend indoors is just a riskier condition than being outdoors and practicing social distancing and talking at length outdoors. And so we're going to encourage us to do that. We're not trying to push you out the church, nor are we trying to hustle you off to grandma's house for Sunday lunch. We want you to linger. We want you to fellowship. That is so much of who we are. And so we're just going to try and do that as best we can and as much as we can outdoors, where it's just that a little bit safer. So a few other things I want to show you, like the fellowship hall. And so come along with me, and we'll show you the fellowship hall. Now, as we come into the fellowship hall, we've noticed immediately that, wow, we've opened it up. Where are the tables? The tables have been put away. The chairs that usually are seated around them have been stacked and put along the wall. And so it looks like it's wide open, ready for the old days of an Awana circle. Well, there's no Awana circle down because we didn't take all these things away because we're moving Awana back out here. The reason we put the tables away and stacked the chairs was because we want this to be an overflow area for our Sunday morning worship. Now, as you come on Sunday morning and you find that this place is too full for your concern, and you want a little bit more space, then we would encourage you to find one of those 2 gentlemen to assist you with setting up some chairs for worship out here in this area. Okay? So this is why this room is open. Now, there's one other element of this room that I think you need to see, and that is our church mailboxes. You'll notice, just like the water fountain earlier, that the church mailboxes have yellow caution tape across them. You also notice, if you look a little bit closer on Sunday morning, that some of us have yet to pick up our February calendar of Christ Community. Well, your February calendar is just a little bit outdated, and so that's really the only thing that's in your mailbox. You may want to just keep it and leave it there. We're discouraging, for the time being, any use whatsoever of our church mailboxes. One last area of the church that I want to point out to all of us as we come for worship on Sunday is our south hallway and our library room. So if you'll come with me down the hallway, I'll just show you a number of things that you want to be aware of come Sunday morning. Again, we have yellow caution tape across our nursery door. Our nursery will not be open on Sunday, June 7th. We are currently attempting to reopen our nursery for our younger families. If you can assist us in that nursery ministry, a critical ministry at Christ Community Church with the number of young families that use our nursery on a typical Sunday morning, and you can assist us in ministering in the nursery, Leah Weichert is the person you need to talk to, and you can get that information from the church office if you need to get some information of how to get a hold of Leah. And that would be a great assistance to us. The next thing I want to point out to us is our restrooms. First, our sisters, our ladies' room, and our men's room, of course, right down the hall next to it. And you will notice outside the doors of each of these restrooms are another opportunity to use hand sanitizer. And as you come down the hallway and you come and stand before the bathroom doors themselves, you will see that there is a sign that's been added that says, please limit 2 people at a time. Now, again, this is just for social distancing, and so we would like to restrict the use of our bathrooms just to 2 individuals at a time. So if you need to use the restroom on Sunday morning, you're going to approach and open the door and just sort of look in and maybe even have to ask, are there 2 people in the restroom? If you hear the answer yes, then we want you to just stand at the entryway and wait for one of the 2 to exit. And again, we'll just kind of make a line with social distancing. And again, hand sanitizer available as you enter and even as you exit. So these will be the only bathrooms open at Christ Community on Sunday. The north hallway will be entirely closed. In fact, even as you arrive on Sunday morning, we ask that you don't use that entrance. The only entrance to Christ Community and the only exit that we want you to use are the main doors. Okay? I know some of us we know it's a quicker way in from where we park, way out there in the parking lot, and we park a ways away to keep this closer spots for other people. And so we're prone to use those other entrances. We'd like for you, every one of us, to use the main doors only. Well, come on down the hallway to the library. I'll show you what we have here. As we come down into the library, you'll see that we have the yellow caution tape around the tables. We don't want anyone to use and just kind of linger here, though our library itself is open and is open Monday through Friday during office hours, 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock, Monday through Friday. And again, we just ask that you practice good safety precautions as you use our library. The tape is around the chairs and the tables so that we're not inviting you to use them. And again, as you enter worship, we would encourage you to go through the main entrance to the worship area, not through this door next to the library. And so, again, this room is open. The library is open for your use, but we really don't wish it to be a high traffic area at all. Now, on Sunday, if we're allowed to worship outdoors, this door leading to outside will be open. But Scott Shippey, who has seen us through this time of COVID-19, where we have been restricted to live streaming only, he is going to be using this door to run cords out this door. And so we really, again, don't want anybody else to use this door on Sunday even if we have outdoor worship. So if you're outdoors and you're enjoying the worship and all of a sudden nature calls, you've got to use the bathroom. Again, I know it's the long way around, but we invite you to walk through on the sidewalk in the parking lot all the way to the main entrance to the church and come back to the restrooms in the south hallway for usage, not come through these doors. And so I think that's about it. The only other thing I think I really want to show you is a little bit of a surprise of what our Board of Deacons and others have been doing, our property team has been doing. And so come with me to the kitchen. I got a surprise to show all of us. Surprise, we're in Christ Community's kitchen. And while the kitchen will be just closed on Sundays, I want to show you the new floor. We have replaced the floor during this time of COVID shutdown. And we want to thank the property team and the Board of Deacons that just kind of taken the opportunity the last 10, 11 weeks to realize, okay, we're not going to be using the building as the way we normally would. And so what are some things that we might want to do to kind of improve our main campus? One of them has been the kitchen floor. We've changed the kitchen floor. Beautiful. Wait till you see it. Wish we could do a tour on Sunday, but we've got the kitchen closed. There's no need to use the kitchen, so you won't be able to see this unless you're watching this video. The other thing that's coming soon, it's not here yet, is we're going to be replacing the carpet in the worship area and the fellowship hall. So again, stay tuned. Lots of good changes and updates coming at Christ Community. During COVID shutdown, we've also deep cleaned. We've called in Service Master to help our janitor get ahead of that game and implement special ways of cleaning with the COVID virus being a reality. And so again, we have taken a number of steps leading up to Sunday when we will regather, just to kind of safeguard our safety as best we can. So again, we hope to see you on Sunday morning at 9:30, even before 9:30. God bless you. Can't wait to see you at Christ Community. If you're unable to come out, live streaming will always be happening on our website.